Yo, how's it going everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is LionHeartZ and today we have something serious to talk about. Since the release of CS2, I've had a lot of fun putting in the time and effort to try and establish myself here on YouTube as a content creator in the space. I've spent a lot of time developing my own sound, unique style, and content that I enjoy making. And one of the things that's been working out really well for me lately have been these recaps of ongoing tournaments, keeping you up to date with all the major moments that are happening in these big tournaments, because not everyone has the time to watch all of the 8, 12, sometimes 16 hours worth of games in a day. And I do genuinely love it. I love covering Pro Counter-Strike. It's something I've wanted to do for a very long time, and seeing it be so well received as I've gone on, seeing how well it's done for my channel, keeps me continually motivated to keep doing it and cover tournaments as they happen. However, not all tournaments are created equal, and I do feel an obligation as somebody with a platform as small as it is, that I don't directly support things that I don't agree with or find objectionable. Which is why, even though it seems like the entire Counter-Strike industry is doing everything they can to prop it up, I will not be covering or talking about the Esports World Cup, which is upcoming in July, for a variety of reasons which we're going to talk about in this video. So why the Esports World Cup specifically? Well, it's because it's being funded, organized, and hosted by the government of Saudi Arabia. It's going to be in Riyadh, and it's all meant to showcase the Saudi Arabian government's quote-unquote deep commitment to esports. Now, for those unfamiliar, what this boils down to is an issue of sports washing. If you don't know what sports washing is, it's the concept of an individual, a group, or an entity using sports as a cover-up for whatever wrongdoings or atrocities that they may have committed. In the case of the Saudi Arabian government, it's been its long-standing issues with human rights violations, treatments of the LGBT community, political dissidents, freedom of the press. You know, the kind of things that a free country would let you do without any kind of scrutiny, but in Saudi Arabia, it leads to you ending up in prison or worse. And listen, right off the bat, it has to be said, I am by no means an expert on these topics, whether it be Saudi Arabia's involvement in esports financially, or how they handle their governance both historically and currently. So I would like to direct you guys to someone who is much better versed in what's going on, and that's of course Richard Lewis, who is pretty much the last bastion of hope we have in the journalism space in esports. His coverage is concise and informative, and if you want the specifics on the Saudi Investment Fund, just how insidiously involved they are in esports and Counter-Strike, I would direct you to him in the links in the description down below as well as the pinned comment. But even without that nuance of his reporting, it should be pretty clear what the problems are. As a freedom-loving American, the one thing I hate more than anything else is government tyranny, especially when it comes to what people are allowed to do with their lives. So, as someone who wants to support Counter-Strike, I find it very pertinent that we do not allow these actors to control the community any more than they already do. Because what about the nightmare reality that might happen if a player or for one of these teams happens to be in the LGBT community and they are forced to go to a tournament in Saudi Arabia? They would have to worry very realistically for their safety because their lifestyle, which has no bearing on anybody else, is criminalized actively by that government. To put players, coaches, staff, or even fans from around the world in that position is insane. And unfortunately gets worse in my mind because of how the organizations involved with the Esports World Cup are handling this. All of the teams involved are so quick to throw their support behind this regime because they know that the millions and millions of dollars that they will get back from investment are well worth whatever cost they may receive socially. Because corporate greed really does have no limit, big teams in the space like Team Liquid, Cloud9, Ninjas in Pajamas, they will equally look at you in the face and signal their support for causes that we should support, like Pride Month, like gay rights, like trans rights. These progressive causes that do deserve to be amplified, they will see that as an opportunity to cynically make money off the back of actual people fighting for the right for their existence. And while they change those avatars on Twitter, and while they sell you their merch, and while they tell you that they support these causes, they turn tail and accept funding from the Saudi Arabian government, host their tournaments in Saudi Arabia, and in some cases allow themselves to be owned completely by the Saudi Investment Fund. But that's nothing new, right? We understand corporate greed and hypocrisy. We know that this kind of rainbow capitalism is going to pop up every year because corporations don't care, they don't have ethics, they don't have morals, all they care about is the bottom line. So in the West, they will signal their support for these causes, then in other areas of the world where those things aren't accepted or outlawed, they will shut up, clam up, delete posts, and pretend it didn't happen. We all know this is a pretty standard issue. However, the problem is now with the Esports World Cup is there's no more degree of separation. Because while for right now, a company like ESL, the biggest tournament organizer in Counter-Strike, is only invested in by the Saudi investment fund. They are not controlled by the Saudi investment fund. For now, in theory, that means the likelihood of interference from these entities is pretty low. But the organizer for the Esports World Cup is the Saudi Arabian government. That means they control everything. There is no separation there. So if you go to this tournament, you are dealing directly with the Saudi Arabian government. If you are a team who goes to this tournament, you are directly supporting the Saudi Arabian government. There is no more room for abstraction. And for me, it's just a step too far. I don't want to directly support the Saudi Arabian government. I already do, partially because I choose to watch and cover ESL tournaments, but there's nothing I can do about who chooses to publicly invest in a publicly traded company. I can't control that. I can, however, control my support for a directly operated tournament. So the big reason I wanted to make this video today is because something set me off the other day. I was scrolling through Twitter, saw it get retweeted by Richard Lewis, and it pissed me off to the point that I had to sit down and speak out about this. And it was a tweet made by the FlyQuest organization, an organization previously that I was very positive about, especially with their CS team doing well recently. I was excited to see how they continue to develop in the space. However, I am now totally soured by this company in its entirety, and I really do feel bad for the players that have to go on to represent them going forward. And it's because of this tweet. And it really is the cynical vagueness of this tweet that set me off. This paragraph right here should make your skin crawl. We understand that the Esports World Cup is a unique proposition, and as such, we will encourage each one of our players, coaches, and staff members to decide for themselves whether they want to participate or not. You see, the one thing that you should do as an esports organization above all else is support your players, because the players are why you have a brand. They are why you're able to make money, and you are nothing without your teams, without your coaches, without your staff. The only reason that you guys get to count those millions in the bank is because of them. And to put all of the blame onto the shoulders of the players, should they choose that they don't feel comfortable competing in a Saudi Arabian tournament, is reprehensible. The one thing you guys should be doing is backing your players. If your players didn't feel comfortable competing, then you should do the right thing and pull out of the tournament. But you won't do it because you see the dollar signs. You see the money, and you can't turn the other cheek and walk away because that check burns a hole in your pocket so bright that you have to grab it. And to not even have the balls to say what the issue is, to cloak it in corporate nothing speak, like unique proposition. What's the unique proposition that you're talking about? All it is an esports tournament. All it is at the end of the day, if you really wanted to be cynical about it, is it's just another tournament. It's just another fucking Counter-Strike tournament. What's the problem? What's the unique issue of this Saudi Arabian tournament that might cause players to choose not to compete? Is it some new format? Are they going to be playing a new version of Counter-Strike we haven't heard of? Is everyone going to have to play with their monitors off? No, it's the fact that going to that country could potentially endanger those players. That's the unique proposition we're playing with. Wow, what a unique and innovative way to spark interest in Counter-Strike. Players stuck in a Hunger Games-like ritual where they might go there and be put in prison before they even play a match. Oh, God, dude, they should put that on television. I think it's a great new idea. And here we are, a week before the start of June. Pride Month coming up. I guarantee you FlyQuest are going to get in on that. They'll change their logos. They'll signal their support. They'll sell you some fancy new Pride-themed merch. All the while waiting for July for that unique opportunity in the Esports World Cup to come up and all that to go away, to be forgotten because there's more money to be made elsewhere. Fuck you, FlyQuest, you pieces of shit. And just for a second, I want to address some potential things that I know I'll see in the comments. You're not cool with it being in Saudi Arabia, but yeah, you're cool with events in China. First off, I have many issues with the Chinese government. That's none of your business. It's a separate topic. What you're doing there is a whataboutism. Instead of focusing on the main issue, you're deflecting to something else to try and gesture at some vague hypocrisy. Also should go without saying that any homophobia, transphobia, whatever that I see in my comments you're gonna get blocked. You're gonna get banned. I just will not allow it in my community whatsoever. Just, it's not gonna happen. And ultimately, I understand that the gesture I'm making is a very small drop in a much larger pool. Is it going to affect any kind of actual change? No, because I don't nearly have that kind of sway or platform. I understand that. But what's important to me is that I make sure that I make informed decisions about what I choose to cover and make sure things are as in line with my morals and ethics as they can be. There are some things that I can't control. There are some things I can. And the things I choose to cover on this channel are absolutely one of the things that I'm in control of. So I will not be doing this. I will not be condoning it. I will not be covering it. And to all the organizations and teams involved in this, I hope the money was worth it, because in the long term, giving up your moral high ground, giving up your ethics is something you can't give back. And if you ever trying to grandstand, if you're ever trying to prostrate your support for certain things, just know that we all know. We all know how easy it was for you to sell out. We know what your price was. My name is LionHeartZ. Thank you guys for watching. Shout out to my channel members, Justin, Jesse, and Furley for keeping the lights on. I'll see you guys soon with another video.